Welcome to Cultural Fluency Makers. I'm your host, David Wellish. Each week, we welcome leaders to share how they stay ahead of the ever-changing consumer landscape. With today's cultural transformation, top brands need to understand diverse consumer segments from Gen Z, Hispanic, and LGBTQ+ to gamers, wine enthusiasts, and basketball fanatics in Iowa. Their marketing strategies require them to keep the pulse on their consumers, but also their brand in the category to continue to grow revenue for the long term. Cultural Fluency Makers is sponsored by Collage Group, the only cultural intelligence engine that provides brand and consumer insights on the why that drives consumer behavior and purchase decisions. Let's get started. I am so excited for this episode and so look forward to a dynamic and insightful dialogue with an incredible executive and a good old friend. With me today, somebody who did not just ride the avocado wave, he built it. I am seriously excited to talk to this guest. He's a marketing mastermind, a brand visionary, and a Super Bowl campaign trailblazer. He has spent nearly a decade turning a brandless commodity into a cultural icon. Under his leadership, his current company became the first fresh brand ever to advertise in the Super Bowl, racked up over 62 billion impressions, and grew its market share from 60 to over 80%. Thanks to his bold, unconventional strategies, US avocado consumption reached record highs. Today, more than 55% of households buy avocados, and his company has become the number one preferred avocado brand in the country. He's been named one of Produce Business Magazine's 35 historic produce vanguards and helped earn AFM a spot on Fast Company's most innovative companies list. He's the president and CEO of Avocados from Mexico. Alvaro Luque, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. Wow, that's an introduction. I don't know if we need to talk about anything about that after that. So I appreciate it. I'm super happy to be here with you.
Fantastic. Well, let's dive deep here. Alvaro, as you so well know, given America's rapidly changing demographic and cultural landscape, what role do you believe cultural intelligence, even inclusive marketing, plays in the overall business landscape for consumer organizations?
Oh, a lot. I mean, you cannot ignore both topics. Culture and intelligence, both of them are extremely important in any organization, and you put them together even more, right? And in our case, avocados, they have been a cultural phenomenon for many years, right? If you see our most important times of the year relate to big cultural moments: the Super Bowl, Cinco de Mayo, New Year's Eve, football season, right? A lot of big events that in the country, they mean a lot from the culture point of view, and they are also highly inclusive of many type of people, right? You don't see football fans as one specific demographic. There are fans in every single ethnic and cultural group in the US, right? So we need to understand those dynamics to really play with them and make the brand and the business grow, right? And when we started the organization, it was exactly like that. I came from CPG my whole life, so when they hired me, I knew nothing about avocados for produce, so I needed to understand a lot the category, the consumer, the dynamics, the cultural effect around it, and only with research intelligence was the only way that I could make myself more intelligent and understand where are the opportunities that we had at the beginning, and it was extremely important to build up the organization that we have right now. Without it, it would have been a miss hit for sure, because it was very hard to move from a packaged good that does a very specific type of marketing to something that is fresh, unbranded, on package, but that we wanted to create the same branding and CPG emotions that we have created for other products in the past.
Um, that's great, Alvaro. You know, as America gets more polarized, it gets more fragmented. As diverse America drives so much of the growth for so many categories in this country, um, I think most brands and most marketers understand how important it is to win with those consumers and understand cultural intelligence. Yet it's challenging. It's why what's hard? What are the key challenges here? Because in some ways, one approach to this would be it's marketing 101. You go after the growth consumers. What's hard?
Well, I think it's very hard to understand what's your place in that narrative and what's your role as an organization, as a brand. There are very successful dairying brands sometimes that they want to pick a fight and they want to have a cultural moment and a social position and defend things that sometimes are not popular from the politics point of view, from the social point of view, and we need those type of brands, right? There are brands that are going to pick fights that we need them to fight. But also we need to understand, I think, David, that not every brand needs to pick a fight,
Yeah.
and every brand has a role, has a reason to exist. And in our case, this is something that we've been thinking a lot about. First of all, we have a very unique situation because we report to the government. I everything that Avocados from Mexico puts out there in the market has to be approved by the USDA. So we have to be politically cautious in many ways. But one of the things that we learned throughout the years is that our position is a little bit different. Our role in this world is a little bit different, and the way that we express it is that we want to make people healthy and happy. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican, it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat, it doesn't matter what type of ethnic or cultural group you are or you support. You all gonna have a great time with a bowl of whack, and you're all gonna get healthier by eating good fats. So we think that our role as an organization, as our brand, is making people happy and healthy every single time. And I think at this moment when we have this big division in our country, right? When we have so many people fighting for many things, that is so hard to sometimes get along with the people that think different from you. A bowl of whack can fix that. And you can have a great time in a Cinco de Mayo, regardless of who you have in front of you, right? And we really believe in that. That's our purpose, our inspirational purpose that we built for the organization is related to that, making people healthy and happy. And we think that that's the role that we need to keep on playing moving forward and be cultural relevant with that type of message, right? Now, not everyone has it that easy, I would say, right? Sometimes when you have other type of products, you need to pick those fights, and but you need to understand, I think, as a company and as a brand, what's your role? That's the big question. What's your reason to exist beyond that inspiration that we all want to create? Is really what this business is all about, and when you get it, you will know if you need to fight or not.
I love that. So really being anchored on your own brand values.
Totally. And you know what I think is very important because purpose, for example, is something that it's been, in my point of view, sometimes mistaken a little bit, right? It feels like there are some people and some companies that they think if they are not relating their purpose to charity or to a big cause or something like that, they're not doing things right. And I believe the opposite. I think that a good purpose has to be strategically grounded in what the company wants, right? So when you find that making people healthy and happy for us, that is highly related to our business purpose and our business strategy, then you have a full circle, right? Because you can really do things where you feel proud, you feel inspired, but at the same time, you're helping the business and you're not 100% doing something different. So I think that there's always a connection there.
Alvaro, it seems so timely to have a vision like that. It's so timely and it's so relevant today. So you spoke about cultural relevance a second ago, and I've had the privilege of moderating and facilitating roundtables with CMOs and heads of insights in the last maybe 16, 18 months. And it's interesting when I ask how important it is to be culturally relevant to win hearts and minds of consumers, everybody raises their. I mean, everybody goes, it is crucial. It is the most essential thing. Alvaro, can you define what cultural relevance is for you? At Collage, we call it cultural fluency. And so can you define it and how do you become one in the marketplace?
It's hard because I don't believe that there's like an exact formula for everyone, right? But one thing that I can tell you, David, is that I truly believe that the best cultural relevancy that you can have in your company needs to be 100% grounded in your company's strategy. There's a big fight in within our company sometimes even between being a strategy first company against an idea first company. And in our case, it's very relevant because we are a marketing organizations. We don't sell anything. We call ourselves Avocados from Mexico, but the reality is that I'm not from Mexico and I don't sell avocados. I'm a marketing organization, 100%, and my role is to spend money the best way possible to develop a category and a brand. So when you have that type of setup, it is very easy to fall in the trap of going idea first. And there's a lot of people that think that if you don't that you're not 100% creative the whole time and changing from one moment to the other every single idea, because you always need to be refreshing your thinking and creativity and ideas and be first in every single thing that comes out there. I think that you're going to be end up following shiny objects, and culture is like that. There are so many things going on in culture right now that I cannot I wouldn't have enough dollars to go after every single one of them. But we need to understand which one of those are really grounded in the strategy that we want to follow. For example, last year, there's a we have a problem with guacamole. Let me tell you this. Guacamole is for sure number one recipe for avocados in the US and in the world. But one of the issues that we have with guacamole is that people highly relate guacamole to Mexican culture. So there's, especially on the food service side, there's a lot of operators then that they would like to have more guac in their menus, but they think that they're moving to a Mexican menu, or they have to do a Mexican recipe to put out there. So one of the things that we've been trying to do is try to make guacamole a little more mainstream and bring ideas around guacamole that are different out there, not Mexican related. And for that, for example, we did a partnership last year with Poppy, super cool brand, right? And we created a summer
Mm.
guacamole with their ginger drink, Poppy ginger drink, and we launched it through influencers in TikTok, right? So highly cultural grounded, right? TikTok influencers, Poppy, everything that moves culture around. But it was 100% related to the strategy that we wanted. That was, let's reposition a little bit guacamole, that it doesn't have to be always Mexican. It could be something out there different that you can use as a base to really celebrate something like summer barbecues and summer getaways, right? So that's the way on how to use culture and always be strategy first in the organization. Don't go after those shiny objects that are gonna make you lose time and effort.
I love that. So prioritize.
100%.
How did you lead and prioritize? That's the how do you become and what is it? what is it to be culturally like? How would you define it? What is cultural relevance? What's
So for me is using culture in a way that people will recognize that you're part of culture, that they feel it authentic, because that's another big trap that you have in
yeah,
culture, where you want to really play in things that they don't fit in your brand and your narrative. So it has to feel authentic to the brand that you are represented, but at the same time is relevant to the organization. So I think that the relevancy has to be both ways. It has to be relevant for the consumer that is experiencing that idea, at the same
yeah.
time that is relevant to the organization that is putting it out there, right? That is really grounded in the strategy of the brand and the company. So for me, that's really the way, because that's where you're going to have the impact. You're going to have the impact on your consumer, and you're going to have the impact on your organization to keep on doing those things.
That's great. Well said, Alvaro. So you led Avocados from Mexico in transforming. It's such a unique story. I mean, really, and congrats
Thank
on
you.
what you've done. You've transformed a commodity product into a culturally resonant brand. Um, Even securing a place in the Super Bowl conversation, which is so rare for fresh produce. What guiding principle or insight helped you tap into the cultural moments so effectively, and how did you ensure those moments translated ultimately into brand growth?
Yeah, it is a very interesting story, because first, when we started this organization, I got hired, and I knew that the board wanted to do something different by hiring me. They were giving me the message that they didn't want the all regular produce type of executive behind it. So one of the first things that I brought to them was this idea of becoming the first produce brand with a CPG mentality, and that our formula was going to be, let's not only bring people from CPG, let's build a CPG team to manage a produce brand, but at the same time, let's look what's working on the CPG world, that usually is highly advanced in compared to produce, and let's bring it back to produce and be pioneers in basically everything that we're gonna do. That was the copycat formula that we wanted to follow, and it worked great, because no one in produce was thinking that way. And um and and it is a shame, because it's hard for you or me to think that, for example, that any of us woke up today and said, well, I need to go to the supermarket at some point to buy my favorite brand of celery, right? That doesn't happen, right? You don't have a brand for watermelons, you don't have a brand for pineapples, right? uh, but you need to understand that that person that thinks like that they don't have brand for carrots, is the same person that is highly motivated by brands when they go to the snack category, liquor category, or drink category, or cookies, right? So the emotion is there, the understanding of the branding world is there. You just need to make it happen in a place that usually doesn't happen, right? So that's the way that we saw it. So when we started the organization, we wanted to become that CPG brand in the produce world. We needed a bang. We needed something that really will put us out there in the map. And in our first board meeting that we had, I had like only 4 or 5 months in the organization. The bold idea was, okay, let's spend at that time 50% of our media dollars into one 30-second Super Bowl ad. I brought all my support on why it was a good idea. I thought it was going to go two ways. They were going to buy it, or they were going to throw me out of the window, right? And they bought it, and they understood that there was an opportunity there, and 100% worked for us. We became the first produce brand, first fresh brand, first Mexico related brand to advertise in the Super Bowl ever. And from one moment to the other, a brand that didn't exist existed, a lot of big outlets in the U.S. Were talking about us because we were the underdog that no one was expecting, right, in the Super Bowl. So the to be 100% honest with you, it was a one-time thing. We wanted to do one Super Bowl, put the brand out there, and just move on. But then we learned from the Super Bowl. We learned that there was something different, that we can reposition the Super Bowl in the way that we use it, and instead of thinking that we were going to invest 5, 6, 7 million dollars for an ad to roll out a new flavor, a new package, or a new product, we were going to use it to first build a narrative for a brand in the future. So we said we're going to build up the brand story through different Super Bowls. We were going to build a digital powerhouse through the Super Bowl, because that first year that we went into the Super Bowl, we ended up being the second most important digital campaign without even trying. So we said,
And
okay,
I remember that. I
yeah,
remember that.
there's something in there. This is crazy. People really relate a fruit with no brand to be
Yeah.
digitally savvy, right? So we created that idea, and that's what really took us to becoming one of Fast Company's most innovative companies in 2021. And finally, we said we're gonna package all this in a very strong integrated marketing communication strategy, so we can really use the Super Bowl as a powerhouse to multiply my presence and awareness in the market. And that's where the 62 billion impression mark came in. Right, in 8 Super Bowls, we were being able to create so much buzz around the brand that we really build up a CPG type of brand in a brandless world.
So you remind me, Alvaro. I mean, I know how this goes, right? Looking back, it seems so simple. I just had this idea, Super Bowl. I pitched it, and it was like thumbs up. And I know that that's not generally how things go. I
Totally.
got two for you. One is, how did you? It's such a bold initiative. I can imagine. I can sort of put myself in that board meeting. Um, how hard was it to get the green light, and what did it take? Question one. And then question two is, why wouldn't the produce industry learn from this? And do you think that in the future we're going to begin to see many more branded products in produce?
Yeah. Okay. On the first one, there were four things that supported the idea of the Super. The first one is that there's a and we didn't invent this, so I'm very happy and grateful to whoever did this. But there's a very interesting connection between guacamole and football. Every time that football starts in this country, guacamole it gets bigger. Okay. The second point is that at that time when we were doing the Super Bowl, guacamole was already a staple recipe in Super Bowl parties. So we knew that the dish was going to be there in many, many, many households. The third big point is that Mexico is the only place, or Michoacan, I'm sorry, is the only place on earth that produces avocados from January to December. So it is, when you get to the Super Bowl, basically 98% of the market is Mexican. So we knew that it was not only going to be a guacamole, it's going to be a Mexican guacamole in front of the TVs. Okay. So all those three highly related to the product and very, very solid. But the fourth one, for me, is really where the magic comes in. That is, think about it like this, David. I was doing a conference in Georgetown a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to some students, and I was telling them, guys, imagine a profession where you study 5 or 6 years to become something, a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. And then you find out that the people that you want to dedicate your life to, that you want to bring to your office and do things for them, are paying every single month from their pockets money to avoid you. Okay, that's the marketing world, right? Everyone is paying Netflix, is paying Disney Plus, is paying
Right.
Hulu, is paying Spotify, is putting ad blockers to avoid what we do. I pay every month to avoid what I do, right? So the fourth element in the Super Bowl is that for whatever reason, for a magical reason, let's put it like that, the consumer flips their minds when they get to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. Everyone wants to talk about the ads. Everyone wants to see all the advertising. They want to share the ads. They want to talk about the brands, right? So it was the perfect scenario for us for them to pay attention. And that's where the magic came in. Because if we were going to invest that much amount of dollars into some other events, we will always have that issue that people don't want to see more ads. But when you get to the Super Bowl, it's different. So that was like the winning point at the end of that idea to sell the Super Bowl. And going back to the second one, I hope so. I hope so. I've been advocating a lot in the produce world to try to make them understand that marketing works. I think that produce they do everything right, right? Perfect products, fresh, beautiful, healthy. They
Right.
present them the best way possible. You get to a produce aisle in a nice supermarket, and it's full of colors. It's full of life, right? It's full of healthiness, but there's no marketing, and they don't. There's a lot of people that don't believe in it because they haven't been built like that. And I think that what the board of for avocados, the Avocados from Mexico board did different was that they brought me, not me being Alvaro, but me being a CPG marketer. I think that if we bring more CPG type of guys into the produce world, it might change.
I think it's fascinating, and you might have been at the beginning of something really big, which makes so much sense, especially in a world where healthy is sexy,
Big time.
right? And there's really nothing healthier than plant and fruits.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Totally.
right? And so the wind is so much in your back. Alvaro, how could we not have this conversation and not talk about the tsunami AI?
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Like it would be a huge miss. I'm curious to get your perspective of the impact and evolution both in insights and marketing. What's your take?
I think that AI is not only changing the world, has been changing the world for years now. It's gonna continue for sure. It's not a fad. Is something that came here to stay. Um, the only thing is, David, you need to again see how AI fits in your world, or it will become a very important shiny object. There's so many things out there. Everything is moved by AI. I was in our planning presentations in the past two weeks, and I saw our HR department, for example, presenting several things on how to use AI in HR, right? So and they all make sense, but it is everywhere. It's not a marketing thing anymore,
Yeah.
right? So we need to understand how we can use it in a way that is good for the brand, that makes sense in this strategy first thinking. Well, for us, for example, I'll give you two examples on how we are using AI. On one side, one of the ways of being sure that we have the most efficient use of our dollars, we try to pre-test every single asset that we put out there. And the way that we pre-test them is that we want them to play in both sides of our dual responsibility, what we call it. We said we're going to build a brand, and we were going to create volume and demand on the other side at the same time, right? So we wanted every asset to help us out to build up a little more purchase intention at the same time that is highly connected to the brand message, right? So we call it brand formers, and we use it in different ways. We've been changing the way that we test that, and now we use AI tools to pre-test those type of messages. So in seconds, we will know if a message is or not working for us the way that we want it, right? So that's a very interesting way of using AI in something that is strategically important for the organization. The other example is how we use AI to build up brand experiences. And in the past 2 years, we haven't been in the Super Bowl. I haven't had an ad in the Super Bowl, but we wanted to do something different. And we know that one of the biggest insights around Super Bowl for us is that people will have those walks, but they want inspiration on different type of walks that they can take to the parties because they want to entertain and impress the people that they're inviting to their Super Bowl parties. So we have used AI in the last 2 years. First, to create 2 years ago, we created a tool that we called Guacamole. That basically you pick up whatever you want from your refrigerator, take a picture of that, and based on the picture, we will create a personalized guacamole experience with those ingredients.
Wow.
And with your personalized name, recipe, pairings, everything, so you can entertain the people that you want with whatever you have in your refrigerator. Super cool. We have won several awards with it, so it worked great. So the second year, or this past year, we wanted to do something different, and we wanted to humanize a little bit more AI. So we were partnering with Rob Gronkowski for the Super Bowl, and what we did is that we filmed Rob with 5 or 6 different random questions. And with that, we created an avatar of Gronk. And Gronk was going to call you and do a personalized call through AI to not only give you his favorite guacamole recipe, but also open the door to different ways of you can create guacs for your parties and do it all through his voice, his face, and it was amazing. We broke every single metric that we wanted for that program in the Super Bowl. So it is just finding the way. AI has to work for your brand,
Yeah.
has to work for your strategy, and it's gonna be, when you find the way, it's gonna be extremely powerful.
Amazing. We one of my sayings is, in the world of AI, data is king, and we're sitting as collage in so much proprietary and
Much.
cultural intelligence data that we've seen what AI can unlock for us.
And it is incredible, especially for a company like you guys, David, because when you have that data, right? One of the biggest problems with some AI tools is that you need to feed the machine to make it intelligent, right? You already have the intelligence, right? So now you can bring the speed. You can bring the speed of AI to give you solutions that in the past we needed to wait months for it to have it. Now in seconds, right?
And because we track over 1,500 brands, AI can link the brand to all of our canon of insights at the category, competitive, consumer level. I mean, it's really powerful.
It is, and it's going to get even more. And the companies that have that intelligence background basis, and they're going to be highly advanced in this AI world.
So, Alvaro, this first part, we've learned so much from you. Let's learn a little bit about you. What what inspires you? I mean, you've done such great things. What motivates you?
I always need a carrot in front of me, David. To be honest, I've done many things that I feel proud about and that I love, but I'm the type of guy that celebrates and move on and tries to always look for something else. It's I think that that being always looking for something out there more is it's the way to go, because it will always keep you motivated to go on. And work, I'm like that. I really like to celebrate the wins and move on to something else, and always have that carrot in front of me. On the other hand, I'm getting older, and I'm seeing my kids become individuals, right? And I remember when they were just kids in a family of five, and now no, I have one that graduated from college. The other one is the second one in college. The third one is moving to a new high school, and they're all becoming different individuals. They are creating their own paths in life. None of them following what I did. Right, I didn't find the marketer in the family to follow me. Uh, but that's great, right? Seeing that those things that you build out that your wife build out, because I have to be honest, I think that those guys are great because of my wife, not because of me. I was working maybe too much when she was really raising them into the great individuals that they are right now. But having that inspiration at home of seeing them grow, and having the inspiration at work to see your ideas grow, and always have that motivation, that carrot in front of you to keep on growing, is what keeps me inspired.
I love we have common family of five. When our kids were young, they said, we're going to do a lemonade stand, and I got so excited as a entrepreneur and as a business guy. I'm like, great, I'm going to teach you so much. So I build this model to teach them how it all works. And at the end, when I finished telling them about the model, you know what I got?
What?
We don't want to do a lemonade stand anymore.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
ruined their business interest and career. Anyways, that's great. So I love this question, especially for the younger crowd who I think needs it so much these days, which is, if you could travel back in time and give your 20-year-old self advice, what would that be?
Maybe do it all over again, right? You make so many mistakes in life, David, and so many things go wrong based on what you think. But also, I think that I've been one of those individuals. I have been blessed that I picked the right career, I picked the right family, I picked the right uh, group of friends, right? And I feel blessed with the life that I have, even though I've been through things that maybe didn't work out as I thought. And there are two things that I always, when they ask me, I like to teach a lot, as much as I can, in to college students, to understand what they're gonna face when they get out of those educational institutions, right? And I always say two things. One is start young, guys. I am not a believer of those guys that keep on studying and studying and studying and studying until they are 30 years old to go out and start working. I started working at 19 first, than any of my friends, and it was really hard, right? I remember being at work, and my friends stopping by with beers and everything else, and they were having a great time making fun of me, and I was working with a tie at 19 in a travel agency, right? But making that decision of moving to the workforce fast and young then gave me great advantages, because I started growing in my career, and from there on, when I got to executive positions, I've been always the youngest in the group, and that gives me a lot of leverage, because I still have a lot more energy to move around, but also I can learn from people that have more years than me in the business. So starting young is a big thing that I would do all over again. And the second one is believe in yourself, right? I am from Costa Rica, 5 million people country, a small country in the world, very very interesting, and a lot of people love it. But when you get to the big leagues like the U.S., you need to forget that you're coming from a small company, from a small market. You need to believe in yourself that you can do big things, because my kids that they were raised here, they are raised different, right? They think in a different way than me, that came to this country way older. So you really need to believe in yourself, and that's something that if I go back in time, I will tell my 20-year-old self, to do it all over again.
That's great. Start early and believe in yourself. Two really important, such important messages. To finish this episode, Alberto, what do you do for fun outside of work?
I need to do more things for fun outside of work. That's what I need to tell you. I am a workaholic. I always tell my wife that we need a hobby, and I need a hobby. I've been trying to catch on golf very old in my life, and it's not working out. I'm terrible compared to all my friends that have many years playing. Um, but I like when I can. I love to cook. I
Seen
do.
that. I've seen those. I've never tasted, but I've seen it.
As I'm gonna invite you to one of my paellas. That's my
Yes.
signature dish, and I love cooking paellas. Uh, but also I love barbecuing. I'm in Texas, so I need to understand how to barbecue. I do my own fresh salsas. I Yesterday I did my own session of fresh hot salsas for the week. So those type of things for me are great. I always said that if I were not a marketer, I probably would be a chef, because I love that cuisine world, and that's something that keeps me entertained. But you don't do it that often to really be a hobby. I really need a hobby.
Alvaro, so grateful for you sharing such an incredible uh, trajectory, such incredible accomplishments, and your sort of takeaways and lessons learned are, I know, going to be invaluable to our audience. I really appreciate it. It's been great to have this conversation with you.
I appreciate it big time, David. Not only is always a pleasure to see you, to talk to you. We've known each other for many years, and I'm super excited not only to be here, but also super impressed of your career and what you have done as well. So it was a great moment. I hope that we do it again.
Thank you very much. And this has been another exciting episode of Cultural Fluency Makers. See you next time. That's a wrap on another episode of Cultural Fluency Makers. Thank you for joining us. Please share your comments and what you would like to hear more about. Be as specific as possible. For show notes and more, please visit culturalfluencymakers.com. This show is proudly sponsored by Collage Group, unleashing the power of cultural intelligence to fuel brand growth. Please follow Collage Group on LinkedIn, and we will see you next week.